Okay, it's been out for a little while now, but how good is the cloud gaming update for the PlayStation Portal going? In November 2025, Sony brought a big update to the PlayStation Portal. An update that allowed you to play games on the device via cloud gaming. Now, for some people out there, they will think, but this isn't new. Sony did that in November 2024. And they did. Sort of. You see, the 2024 update was a beta. It allowed you to play games that were on the extra and premium library, but nothing more. So you had a rotating library that you paid a subscription fee for, and you could play those games on the portal without the use of a PS5. But if you wanted to play new games or your digitally owned games, that wasn't possible during the beta phase. The November 2025 update, however, has rectified that situation, and you can now play digitally purchased games on the PlayStation Portal. This is a massive update, because it suddenly means that you may not need a PlayStation 5 at all to own a Portal and play up-to-date PlayStation 5 games, as the Portal can now do all of it. Lofty claims. So, do they carry any weight? Well, in my experience, the gaming is actually fantastic. PlayStation Cloud has always been the best performing cloud gaming service for me. Better even than Google's Stadia. And Stadia was built to work on high latency networks. So that should give you an idea of how good PlayStation's cloud gaming service is. The problem I've previously faced with their cloud gaming service, however, is access to it. When it was launched, it was called PlayStation Now. It cost £40 per year to access the service, and for that cost you got access to a library of streamable games that you could access on a multitude of devices. If you had a PlayStation Vita, you could play the games there. If you had a PlayStation TV, you could play the games there. You could play on your PlayStation 3 as well, but also on smart Blu-ray players, on smart televisions. You could play them on PC as well as the new PlayStation 4. Essentially, what Sony was setting up was the option to play your PlayStation games nearly anywhere. But as time progressed, the access options got lesser. First, it was the removal of devices that the service was available on. The Blu-ray players disappeared, smart TVs disappeared, even the PlayStation Vita, TV and PS3 were no longer able to access PlayStation Now. Then, Sony redesigned the service in 2022 into the PlayStation Plus Essential, Extra and Premium tiers that we now know, meaning you could no longer access PlayStation Cloud Gaming for £40. It was £100 a year because it was only available on the Premium tier. Then Sony increased the prices of PlayStation Plus. So a service that used to cost £40 a year and was available across a multitude of devices in the mid-2010s, by the mid-2020s, is now 3 times more expensive than it was 10 years ago at £120 a year, and is available on so many less devices. With the addition of the PlayStation Portal now, we have 4 devices on the planet that can access PlayStation Cloud Gaming. That's the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation Portal, and Windows PCs. Access to PlayStation Cloud Gaming has always been a challenge, and that doesn't change with the Portal. Firstly, because you need to buy the Portal itself. Then once you've bought the Portal, if you want to access cloud gaming, you need to buy PlayStation Plus Premium. So that cost of entry is £200 for the Portal and £120 for a year of PlayStation Plus. Yes, for £320, you've got a great handheld that can play AAA PlayStation 5 games at 1080p 60 frames per second. But if you don't pay for another year of PlayStation Plus Premium thereafter, you no longer have access to that. And if you don't also have a PlayStation 5, you've then got a device that cannot play games natively. In addition, that £320 cost is just for the inclusive libraries of PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium. It doesn't include the purchase and playing of any digitally owned games. Once again, access is challenging due to cost. But if that cost doesn't turn you off, the actual gamed experience is pretty stellar. This is what my remote play experience is like most of the time with the PlayStation Portal. I don't get this with any other device. The other devices actually work really well, but the PlayStation Portal struggles with remote play. I don't know whether it's the chipset in it, whether it just doesn't like my particular house or wherever I am, however I'm accessing remote play on the Portal, it looks like this, and it's terrible to play. This, however, is my cloud experience. It's smooth, it's responsive, it's high quality. What I have noticed, because I've got the original launch model PlayStation 5 at home, is that I have more options in graphics settings and more options overall when playing via the cloud on the Portal, which to me says this is the PlayStation 5 Pro experience over the cloud, not the PlayStation 5 experience. So I'm getting a better experience via PlayStation Cloud Gaming. Most importantly though, it just works. I turn the device on, I utilise the controller inputs to navigate the home pages, whether that's for remote play or cloud gaming. I select the game that I want to play from the cloud via these two library options, one for my digitally owned titles, one for the PlayStation Plus catalogue, and then the game just starts and works. There's no adverts in the queue like you get on some other options. Microsoft, Nvidia, looking at you guys here. There's no playtime limits like Nvidia put on you with their GeForce Now, whether that's a single session or over the course of a month. It just boots up and plays, as if playing on native hardware. The gaming experience on the Portal via the cloud is just good. It's so positive, in fact, that I'm kind of struggling to find stuff to say about it. Yes, it only runs at 1080p, but that's the maximum resolution of the device. Okay, it's only 60 frames per second, but that's the maximum frame rate of PlayStation Cloud. Alright, you're not getting HDR content, but this LCD screen is tuned so well and is so vibrant that just standard play looks and feels like high dynamic range. Alright, your analog sticks on the Portal are smaller than the ones you get on a standard DualSense controller, but I don't feel like they actually detract in any way from the gaming experience. And for a guy like me with hands on the smaller end of the spectrum, sometimes I actually prefer them. You get the full suite of DualSense feedback with the Portal, which, granted, you can get on other devices by connecting the DualSense up to them, but to have it just so seamlessly integrated is wonderful. I really do struggle to find more things to say because when something just works, when something is so seamless in its execution, when something is just exactly as you expect it to be, when it doesn't detract from its purpose and it doesn't cause you any challenges, that thing is simply great. And that is honestly how I personally feel about cloud gaming on the Portal. It's simply great. And for me, the way to actually use the device, even over remote play. That's not to say that there are not challenges with PlayStation Cloud Gaming. One of the biggest ones, as we've previously spoken about, is availability. The Portal is one of only 4 devices that can access PlayStation Cloud Gaming. But for 165 countries out of the 195 in this world, this isn't even an option. Australia, as one example, does not have access to PlayStation Cloud Gaming at all. But the Portal is sold in that country. And if you ask me if the Portal is a worthwhile investment when the only access to gaming you have on it is via remote play to an existing PlayStation 5, I would personally say no. Because the remote play experience that I have had on alternative devices is not only far superior, but more versatile too, being able to remote play to PlayStation 4, to both 4 and 5 via mobile data, and to other consoles and PC as well. There is, of course, in the regions that do have access to the cloud gaming, the generalised cloud gaming idiosyncrasies that you have to deal with as well. Over my time using cloud gaming, from Stadia to xCloud, GeForce Now to Luna, Blacknut to PlayStation Cloud, and a bunch of others in between, the one thing that I have realised is that every single complaint that anybody has ever made about cloud gaming is real. It's just whether you as an individual actually encounter those challenges. So the lag that people talk about on cloud gaming is real, and that is very much determined by your geographical location. How far you live from the server that you're trying to access matters. I'm lucky. I only have to connect to France or Germany, about 500 kilometers away. There are some folks, however, who have connection distances of well over 1,500 kilometers before they actually get to their local server. And that, of course, introduces lag, despite the speed of networks that we have nowadays. The pixelation complaints that you get, again, are real, and I have experienced it, even with PlayStation Cloud Gaming. A dip in your internet service provider's performance will suddenly cause a dip in your played experience. Disconnections, lack of availability, speed spikes and troughs, all of these things impact the cloud gaming experience in a negative manner. I'm apparently quite lucky in my experience with PlayStation. I don't have many of these scenarios crop up for me. But that doesn't mean that my neighbour will have the same experience as I. That doesn't mean my friends in the same city will have the same experience as I. Cloud gaming, like most cloud-based services, can be a bit of pot luck, and what works superbly for me may not work superbly for others. But the only point of reference that I have available to me to be able to talk from, to be able to review from, and to be able to give you guys guidance from, is my own experience. And frankly, the PlayStation Cloud experience, whether on PlayStation 4, 5, PC or Portal, and even back on the Vita and Blu-ray players, has been near flawless over the last 10 years for me. And that's saying something when I've got some severe negative things to say about nearly every other cloud gaming provider. PlayStation Cloud Gaming on the Portal just works. It feels like what this device should have been from the start. Yes, it means you've got an annual subscription to be able to play your games. And yes, it means you're still paying to play games that aren't on the game catalogue. But the fact that this option is available, the fact that when you select a game it just works, and it works with the full suite of controller feedback, it works at the absolute maximum capacity of the device and service without any tinkering, without any adjustments to networks or devices, is such a breath of fresh air in a world littered with services that need you to jump through 17 different hoops just to get started, that I am confident in saying it is the best cloud gaming experience out there right now. The Portal has been revitalised for me with this update. The fact that I can play Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a multiple Game of the Year award winner, anywhere that I want to, with no lag, no challenge, and the DualSense feedback that I adore so much, on a device that 2 years ago I had basically written off as useless, is amazing. The fact that I've got 800 games at my fingertips, if I so fancy, with genres from action-adventure through to puzzle through to life sim, is incredible. And when you consider that you get both the hardware and this service for less than the cost of a year of Game Pass Ultimate, really puts into perspective how valuable cloud gaming on the Portal really is. At least in my experience and opinion. This video was produced after 2 months' usage of the PlayStation Portal Cloud Gaming Update. The Portal and PlayStation Plus have always been purchased personally by Doragon. Neither Sony nor PlayStation know this video is being made. They don't get any early previews or copy approval. If they do see this video, they will see it for the first time right alongside you. If you've enjoyed this video, I believe these will also be of interest to you. If you wish to continue the conversation, you can find me sparingly on socials at Doragon86, in the community tab here on my YouTube channel, or daily in the Discord in the description. And until next time, folks, have yourselves a fantastic day, and take care.